Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show.
Just some mouth sound. Just some mouth sounds for all the people who have misophonia or whatever it's called.
What?
I said just some mouth sounds for people who have misophonia or whatever.
ASMR-phonia?
Mm-hmm. I personally love that, like, the eating, chewing, crunching noises. I love it.
They don't skeeve me out, but it's not a source of entertainment for me either.
They don't ski people out, but people will feel like an irrational, like, upset. Well, I'm going to say irrational because it's like, I don't know, they've done some weird study. They've done something, like, you have, like, some sort of, like, it actually triggers, like, something in your brain that causes,
it's not a...
Yeah, it's not, you're not, like, just being an asshole. You're just acting like one. I've always chewed, like, I have, like, fucked up teeth and a mouth that's fucked up because of it. So, like, I have, like, you know, my jaw cracks and pops all the time, so I have, like, a lot of pain in my jaw, and I have a lot of, like, sometimes it's hard to chew, and I can't really chew with my mouth closed. I have to chew with my mouth, but my mom's the same way. Like, chewing with your mouth closed is, like, it's not, like, it would, I don't know, like, I have to, whatever. And people will get so fucking pissed off that I'm not chewing with my mouth closed, and I'm like, okay, cool, sorry. I don't.
Yeah.
My jaw also is misaligned, and it gets stuck sometimes. When I was younger, that used to happen. I used to yawn, and my jaw would lock, and I would be like, and I didn't know what to do because you can't, like, it would just happen so randomly. Like, it would happen, like, when I was, like, at, like, a friend's house staying over.
God.
So I'm like, I can't, like, ask for help. And I would just, one time, I think the longest was, like, it was, like, 20, 30 minutes that it was just stuck. And I couldn't.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What?
You know what happened? Nothing.
Meaning?
I mean, I didn't go, no one, you know, it was just like,
Oh, well, yeah.
that happens.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't happen anymore, but probably because whatever was getting stuck got worn away enough that.
Small miracles.
Anyway, would you recommend? No.
Yeah.
So, oh God, episode 3 of your B-Day.
My bidet.
Of your HJ B-Day.
Not the movie I thought it was going to be.
Definitely not. It was totally different than I assumed. First of all,
It's more The Vineyard than it is Critters.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. Yeah. Me too, you know. We neither one of us, I mean, this is one thing that if Keith suggests a movie and I try not to look anything up before, like, as I'll look up as much as, like, a brief, barely there synopsis if I do look up anything about a movie. I don't want to know who's in it. I don't want to know, you know, because I don't want to Because also sometimes they'll do the thing where, like, I don't know why they do this, but like sometimes when a person becomes famous later,
Yeah.
they'll like list them as being in the main cast or whatever, and they're just like not at all.
Right.
So I don't want to look it up.
Jennifer Aniston stars in The Leprechaun.
I mean, she kind of does.
That's true.
Other people are in it too, but she also is in it a lot. Anyway, so I don't look anything up. So I didn't know, and you didn't. Apparently, you didn't know, or
Nope.
you forgot.
No, I didn't.
Mariska Hargitay was in this.
I didn't
It's
know
her
Jack
feature
Nance was in
film,
this.
Yeah, her feature film
But-
debut.
I fucking screamed when I saw her name in.
Yeah. I almost missed it because I was busy looking at, what was it, Keith
Joe Dick,
Joe Dick.
who plays Dick.
And I was like,
So
I was
finally
like,
some
Keith Joe
decent.
Dick, and you were like, Mariska Hargitay.
No, exact same. I was looking at that name.
Yeah. I don't know if we've mentioned it on the podcast, but I think it was after my MRI. I think that was what it
Is that when we started down that path?
I was like, an MRI is horrible. I will never do one again and not be
Oh yeah.
tranquilized or something. There's no way. You cannot put me in that tube and be like, just be still and try not to let the thoughts get you. Like, that can't happen. No. Anyway,
I'm so sorry.
it's okay. I kept telling everyone, they were like, are you claustrophobic? I'm like, very much so. And they were like, okay, well, I'm just going to put no. And I'm like, what the fuck? People would be like, well, like, how severe? And I'm like, well, I'm terrified of being trapped and not being able to move. And they're like, so, like, not that much? I'm like, I don't know what. Anyway, we came home and I was like, all I want to do is watch SVU. And I put it on the first Martin Donovan episode. And we...
Is that the blood one?
Yeah. Yeah. And we watched that, and it's always a very joyous time for me. I feel bad because I can put something on and you'll be like, I'm not that interested in this.
Yeah.
You get hooked. You'll put something on. I'll be like, I'm not that interested in this. And I just go away.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because
Good, you
if
should.
it's not, if I,
Our relationship is not reciprocal.
it's not. Not in media. It really isn't. I do feel bad about that. Not enough to do anything about it, but I just feel bad about it. So I got you into The Closer, and then we watched
all of The Closer, all the major crimes. SVU from the beginning?
Well, we watched it from the Martin Donovan episode until the end, until we ran out of episodes.
Oh,
and then we went back to the beginning and watched it up until the Martin Donovan episode.
Okay. And then we watched a lot of Vanilla Law and Order.
Yeah, we watched Vanilla. We watched as much Vanilla Law and Order as Peacock allowed us to watch. I really want you to see like the OG episodes. That shit was really good. And then we watched most of Criminal Intent. I think we dropped off the last season or the last two season. It's just it got hard for me because Chris Noth comes on there, and I just hate Chris Noth so much. I mean, he is on the OG Law and Order, but he's not as focused as the Criminal Intent. Like, I just don't understand why anybody brings Chris Noth anywhere. And like, so like, very thrilled that his career is toast because so many women were like, "Hey, guess what? He assaulted me."
Oh, really?
And then they fired him from Sex and the City. And the reboot, Sex and the Shitty or whatever.
That was clever.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway.
Yeah, that's funny.
Anyway.
Sorry.
It's okay. And now I've gotten you into Evil. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, that wasn't as hard to sell.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch Grey's Anatomy.
And yet you did.
I watched it when you put it on, but
Yeah.
it's not.
I mean, to be fair, it was after my hysterectomy, so
Yeah.
we were both stuck.
We were both bedridden.
Yeah. I couldn't move that much, and you had sympathy.
And I couldn't have intercourse. So
Yeah, you were laid up for weeks.
my balls were so huge and swolled.
Remember when
glued.
we went to the we went to the doctor, and I was like, "Can I masturbate?" And he was like, "As long as there's no penetration," he's like, "it should be fine." And so we went home, and I was like, "Will you help me?" Because it was 2 weeks after. It was just 2 weeks, and I was like, "I can't do this." And you helped me, and I got to completion, and it was the worst feeling. Now
No, I blocked that
it
out.
didn't hurt, but I was like, no, it did not feel like normal. It just felt, it was so uncomfortable. Like it felt good,
Right.
you know, like the thing happened and it felt real good, and then I was like, no, 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 ooh, ooh, ooh. And so I was so scared to do anything after that. And then we had sex. I can't remember if it was for the very first time. We had sex like after I got the all clear from my doctor. And we finally had sex, and you were like, ow, because my stitches were coming out.
I was fucking a weed whacker.
And they were
A
stabbing.
weenie whacker.
Oh, man. Good
A
times.
tallywhacker. Did you ever hear that?
Tally me bananas. Yes, of course I've heard tallywhacker.
I hadn't thought about that word in a while, so I didn't know how.
You know that song,
common
My
it was.
Ding-a-ling?
Yeah.
Okay. My grandma would insist that he was just talking about a toy that he had. He was not talking about. She's like, it's a double entendre. I'm like,
Yes.
Thank you, Grandma. Thank you so much. She was like, it's not. He's not talking about his. She's like, that's not what it is. And I was like, okay, thanks. Thanks
So it's
for going
not a
so
double
hard.
entendre?
Right.
I'm
I'm like,
confused.
thanks for going so hard on this. I get the joke. Like, also, it's not actually a joke. I don't even think it's a double entendre. It's just, like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. So, critters. Nope. Ghoulies. I was like, why did they fucking call it that?
Yeah.
That was not a good name,
No.
honestly. There's a Ghoulies too, though.
Oh, there's at least 4.
Yeah. It was confusing. I was kind of impressed.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed that the whole thing is like, so it starts with like I'm assuming satanic ritual, you know? And they're going to stab a baby to death or whatever. I don't know, whatever
Yep.
Satanists supposedly do to babies.
Right.
And the mother stops it from happening and puts a necklace on the baby to keep the baby from harm.
Supplex. Donem. Honorem.
No! You promised! You promised not a child!
He is the one.
You can't hurt him now, you bastard!
And then Jack Nance comes in and takes the baby.
Just walks up and
Yeah, he literally
takes the baby and walks
that's
out.
exactly how the scene is presented. It's not Jack Nance just comes in and he's like, give me that baby. And he's like, you can't have it. And he's like, what? I already have the baby and I'm walking out, you know.
Can't hear you.
Okay, here, the baby's in the other room now. So then it's like
Fast forward.
Yeah, fast forward, and then it's Jack Nance doing an old man's voice. He was like,
Oh, he did it.
and the father died horribly, or whatever. He says like he died a horrible, violent death. What? Why did? Okay, and then
Source.
yeah, exactly. And then it's sort of like
I can't believe I inherited this place.
yeah, and then it's confusing because he inherited this place, Jack Nance
First of all,
is his unkie or whatever.
Presumably, ostensibly, the Ghoulies are hanging out during the satanic ritual, but they're just hanging out, literally on the sidelines,
They don't
observing.
They seem like they're just a friend of someone.
Yeah,
they're just doing some. No, I mean, even when he like gets them, they're just hanging out. They're like when they have a dinner party, they're just helping themselves.
The little people do more stuff than the Ghoulies do.
Well, I guess the Ghoulies do kill.
Well, yeah, they eat Toad Boy and Marishka.
What the hell's in there?
Man, that chick is really a screamer.
But do they? Anyway,
Right.
And so
That was a stock scream, by the way. Her voice is naturally very husky.
that was a what?
Stock.
Oh, okay. I heard.
That was like one of 4 trivia
Yeah.
items for this.
Yeah, I saw that. It was an effect. Okay. I'm like, Mariska has a deep and husky voice. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you can still scream with a deeper voice. I don't know how to tell you. I don't know. Maybe they pitched it up or something. I don't know, but whatever.
47 Feet Pool found that helpful.
I'm sorry. It sounded like he said a 47 feet pool.
People.
Feet pool. Like where like somewhere you
Foot
go
bath.
diving. It was a 47-foot pool. So sorry. I'm so sorry. It would help me to not laugh if you just wouldn't look at me. Sorry.
Yeah, what if I didn't exist? That would probably help you not laugh, too.
No, that would help me a lot, not laugh, and that would be the saddest day of my entire life. Ba, ba, ba. So the baby grows up and is a guy that's 34 and is maybe in college, maybe getting a doctorate, maybe he's just out of high school. He's got like a Letterman sweater.
Oh, yeah.
Letterman sweaterman. So I think they're trying to punch home that he's like a little bit. He's just out of high school or
Don't
something.
punch home. Punch up.
I punched down into the crotch of it all. And then Jack Nance comes up. Like he's showing his girlfriend.
Oh, that's just a groundskeeper. Classic.
Yeah. Is that supposed to be? Do they not know each other? Or I couldn't.
No, they know each other.
But did he? None of it makes sense.
He doesn't seem to remember that he's a baby saved from satanic sacrifice.
Well, yeah, he doesn't remember that, which is fine. But like, Jack Nance is the groundskeeper, and this dude inherited this. But like,
also, what happened in between?
the grave is like really old. So like, if that, then he didn't just inherit it.
Also, what has happened in the intervening years?
Exactly. I have no idea.
Not important.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's not.
I did like, though, that, like, he basically, like, when he gets the house, they start going through everything. What?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Need a tissue from the tissue factory?
No, I got one. Did you Goobs.
What is
Them goobs. Like goober. It's an anagram of booger.
It's just, well, okay. Goob is just bug backwards.
Yep. I agree.
Fucking Jesus. This is what I have to deal with every single day.
So his girlfriend looks like Kath.
Yeah.
Out of Kath and Kim. Like,
That fucking clip where she's walking through, like, the city and she's seeing all the, like, gay innuendos and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's, like, Lebanese. Like, and like, it's so fucking funny. God. I didn't really watch that show to the degree that Keith did, but I would watch it if he was watching it and I came into the room. And it had some funny moments.
it did. Yeah.
I did not. The one thing that I was like, what is when they had the water filtration system where they were just reusing water as like their shower water was just like, you know, it was like recycling water or whatever,
Okay.
how you have that sort of gray water kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And they were like taking a shower and like a tea bag would like fall on them or whatever. And I'm like,
I don't remember that, but
I was like, that can't be. That's too far.
come on, guys.
Maybe it would be in the it would take a lot to get it in the actual water tank. But how's it getting through the shower? You know, it just you gotta.
I think you have to be Australian to really understand it.
Yeah, maybe. The fact that British people and Aussies are included in that drink tea instead of coffee, it's just it really.
I do both.
Yeah, but like tea is if they say cuppa, they are not meaning coffee.
No, that means tea.
Exactly. And that's just
Well, the best part about it is that it's based in colonialism and one of the things handed down from like royalty.
yeah. I know.
So super cool.
Weird. Anyway, when he and his GF or whatever,
She finds a book of magic that a mouse is reading,
yeah, and
and then from then on, he's
then
basically
he
addicted to
he
doing
finds-
black magic.
Yeah. But and then he gets
Oh,
the
he
green
finds a
eyes-
pentagram in the basement or whatever.
He dirties his hands, waxing on and waxing off a pentagram on the floor, and then he just gets all
Horny for doing
Yeah.
magic.
which I like appreciated. I was like, oh, that's cool that like the main character, the person that we're supposed to be like, oh, he got saved from this as a baby, and then as an adult, he's just like, oh, I'm the bad guy. I was like,
Hurt
oh,
people
cool.
hurt people.
Exactly. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the end is it just goes a little left.
Don't blame the left.
I meant leftist. And
Yeah, I've already forgotten. Let's see. Dad gets resurrected.
yeah, he resurrects his dad.
Does he do that? Is that what happens?
Yeah, like his friend. He has his friends over.
He summons the
And then-
little people first.
He summons the ghoulies on accident.
He summons the time bandits.
Yeah, and then he brings the time bandits, and then and then after.
But one of
that-
them is like, no, the old guy's our real master.
Well, no, he says what happens is
Or the
he
other
has
way
his
around.
friends
Sorry.
over,
Yeah.
and he has them
Teleport. They drink something and then they teleport to the basement.
Yeah, and then he does a ritual, and then he brings them back to the upstairs. Like he teleports them back to the dinner,
dining table.
and then it's
Dining
just
table?
yeah, whatever, dining room table, and then then his dad's back, and then he's like going through and he's French kissing his friends, and then he's like, yeah, he's just killing all his friends, and then, which is chill. I was like, okay, that's cool.
I don't. Yeah.
kills his girlfriend by
Well, he brings Dad back, and then
flying
Dad's...
a ghoulie with that is doing an impersonation of a bat with a giant sack of balls.
Oh, yeah. That guy's all hongus anyway. That's the hongus ghoulie.
All hongus, no chongus.
And they're like Cinnabites. You get
You got
a couple different flavors.
yeah.
They're not all the green toilet guy,
Yeah.
which I was surprised. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
My favorite is the one that's just like...
That looks like demonic Garfield. Yeah, that's cool. And I liked the one that had like a sinus infection.
That's the hongus one, isn't it?
I don't think that's the hongus one. I think the hongus one is just a random one, but he just
Sure is a wet puppet.
Yeah, they're all wet puppets. They're all puppets who are moist.
I could not find. Apparently, I was wrong about the scaredy cats talked about ghoulies.
Oh, wow.
That or my search was insufficient.
Or they took it down.
I can't imagine. They did do the Critters movies, though.
Nice.
So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe I got confused.
And the movie Critters, one of them pops out of a toilet as an homage to this film. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I was like, I haven't been recording. I have been. I've been recording. I did that one. I did that multiple times.
It's happened.
I've
done it.
happened multiple times where
You have
didn't
happened.
record, and I felt bad. One time, we recorded most of an episode without one of our mics on. Probably yours. Let's
Mine.
be honest.
It was mine.
Yeah. It's always going to be Keith's mic that's not on.
Yeah. Because white men are censored.
Yeah. No, I know.
But Dad comes back and he's like, I will have your youth.
Yeah, and then he's like,
So-
I was going to make a joke, but he really is like, kiss me. Kiss me because I want your youth.
You are my life, and I will have my life.
Kiss me, my son. Kiss me. Let me drain the life from your lips.
That was fun.
After he seduces Dick
Yeah.
by being a hot lady and then
A hot G-MILF.
choking him out with her tongue.
Is her.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked that. That was cool. The tongue part was
There isn't
interesting.
actually a whole lot of gore or anything in this.
Yeah, there wasn't, and I was a little disappointed
disappointing.
that everybody that died came back to life at the end, and
Did
they
they?
all escaped. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all like dead. And
Oh,
then
that's right. And then they're all just
and then
having
when
spasms.
yeah,
Once Jack Nax appears, Jack Nax. All right.
I'm sorry.
Once Jack Nance reappears. And then they have an eye lightning battle until they both disappear.
And it was just coming out of the one eye. That was so confusing.
Of Pop-Pop, yeah.
Papaw
That's
just
what
had
they
that
call
one
him.
eye. We call him Papaw one eye.
Papa left eye. Spice.
Papaw lefty.
In the house. Seems like it's going to collapse, but it doesn't.
Doesn't? Yeah. And then I loved
What
the
happens?
end.
Remind me, I totally blanked it.
They're driving and they're like, well, that was a whole thing. And then the
Classic.
ghoulies just pop up in the back seat and they look back and they're like, ah, and then it
Freeze
freeze
frame.
frames. Oh my God.
No, they don't even scream.
Oh, I
It's
thought they
just
did.
the stoner guy looks back and sees them and then turns around and that's the freeze frame. Because first of all, you don't even know stoner guy's in the car, so he sits up
No, he gets in the car with them.
and then I'm telling you my experience.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to diminish your lived experience in talking
I'm telling
about
you my story, my truth.
I kind of hate when people shit on people for saying something about being their truth, and people are like, "There's only the truth," and I'm like, "Well, yes and no, because people can think that people's brains can trick them. And
Absolutely.
but I could say this is my truth. This is what I remember happening. And it cannot necessarily line up with actual events because sometimes your brain is like, it was a blue car and it wasn't. Like, it doesn't, like, none of that shit.
There's a whole...
In the bottom of the sea?
There's a... Yeah. There's a hole in my heart where... shout out to Big Mountain Fudge.
Yeah.
Cake?
Big Mountain Fudge Cake. There's a hole in my pocket where my money should go. There's a hole.
Yeah.
And a
there's
hole.
also a hole in my heart where
Oh.
you should go. I think.
Oh.
There's a hole! John Redcorn, underrated vocalist.
Yeah, agree.
Hard rock vocalist. I read Samuel Delaney had a memoir called Light Reflecting on Water or something like that. Mm-hmm. In the first section is like him telling a story about his dad and then finding out that he'd had the facts, the chronology didn't line up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that he didn't figure this out until, like, it was a story he had like, his whole life, basically, since his dad died or something. And then,
Yeah.
like, sitting down, once he, I think, started to write the memoir,
Yeah.
was like, had to be faced with the fact that it was not.
Yeah.
Didn't
That's
work.
always like really jarring when you're like, oh, I remember this. And then you like, and it's anything, it can be as small as like a TV show or like remembering how a scene in a movie was, or like you listen to a song or anything like that, something even that small. And you go back and you're like, huh.
Oh, yeah.
That is not what I remember.
Yep.
And then you're like, what the fuck was my brain doing that it created a whole different thing?
Yeah.
Or it'll conflate things.
it's fascinating.
And it's so wild. That's a thing that, I will be honest, that's a thing that freaks my shit out.
Yeah.
Because, like there's, it's funny to me because things like, you know, that Black Mirror episode or whatever, where the guy was like playing his memories of his relationship over and over and over again or whatever. I always hate things like that. Even a little bit Rememory.
Yep.
Rememory is a movie that is not that good, but it's a movie that always gets me. Like, I just want to have like in-depth conversations over how wrong that movie is. Yeah. Not in a bad way. It's just like,
right.
Whatever. Anyway.
I get you.
And it's always like, here's we're going to take your memory and then you're going to replay it. Or like, and I'm like, this is so inaccurate. Or like, we're going to record something. Well, Rememory is a little different because Rememory is supposed to be your memories that are being played back. But I think in that Black Mirror episode, it's just
like a contact that records what your eye sees, right?
So like you're just playing back this scene so that, and I'm like, but it's not, that's not how.
Yep. It's not how memory works.
Yeah, it's not how memory works because it wouldn't be accurate because your memory, and this is another thing, like when people talk about like testimony, like people who are like,
oh yeah,
go through something and how like, if like, oh, their story changed over time, it would, because your brain would change the story.
Yeah, what were we watching?
The Sherry Panina.
Oh,
Panina. The Sherry Panini kidnapping, where they said her story didn't change at all.
Right.
And I was like, that's actually really, before, like, you know, they revealed that she faked it all. Like, they, like, I was like, that's actually not.
Yeah.
That's actually.
But they addressed that eventually, right? Like.
I don't think they did.
Oh, did we just talk about it?
Yes.
How?
We talked about it. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
And yeah, but that's always something that's like, it always kind of drives me crazy whenever people are like, oh, now it's suddenly this different phrasing than it was then. And I'm like, yeah, it would be. You don't tell a story the same way. Even like a funny story or a happy story, you change it. And not like intentionally even. But that's something that always like skeeves my shit out to think about. Like, it's so
Well, and that, yeah, you just convince yourself that you
yeah,
of what you've experienced.
yeah, right. And the thing, and like, for me, the biggest like what do you call it? Like, wrench in the design of
Fly in the ointment.
yeah, of like, oh, it plays your memories back. If the emotion is not attached to it,
Yeah.
then it's not
It's nothing.
correct. Because
Yeah.
if you're, and even like the recording, like it records what really was going on. That doesn't indicate how your stress levels were, where your mind was at,
Well, it's also
how
you
you
don't-
perceived something.
Context, bruh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like someone can walk up to you and like ask you a question, and it might seem like a very normal question for a stranger or someone who doesn't know you, but like for you, you know that they were
Right.
referencing something
Right.
from your past that's, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like there's all this shit that it's like it doesn't get factored in, but it's like people will be like, "Oh, if you record this thing, it's sort of like the whole like facts don't care about your feelings."
Yeah, right.
And for me, I'm like, right, and feelings don't care
facts.
about facts.
Exactly.
Like that it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
that statement is moot essentially, to be like,
Yeah, well, yeah. There is no objective external reality.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
And like your reality is
Sorry,
like,
bruh.
Yeah, and like, you know, we're only able to perceive like a certain percentage of it and like shit like that.
Our brains only work at 12%.
Yeah.
Click here to find out how to activate your whole brain.
And then it just explodes. Why am I bleeding out of my eyes?
Yeah, right. Oops, whole brain work now.
Oops, all autism.
Right. The next stage in human evolution.
I fucking hate when people say shit like that. People are like, "Oh my god, we're just better than everyone else." Shh. Stop. It's always white people too. It's
course.
always white people.
Of course.
Am I better than everyone else? Like, no matter what it is, that's white people are always like, "Wait, is this thing just what makes me better than everyone?" Like, why did you could just have a thing? It does not have to. You don't have to make it supremacy. I don't know what it is.
Well, it's what we're told.
I guess that's true. I guess.
And here's the thing.
Oh,
Here's the thing.
what I'm gonna tell you.
Lana. Yeah, whatever.
I really want to know what.
Well, I was just going to say, if something has to be repeated for it to be true, then it's probably not. Repetition breeds truth,
What?
perceived truth. If
I
something is repeated, it is believed.
Okay. All right.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean by truth in
Yeah.
this case.
Okay. Well, then why didn't you just say wait a minute? No, okay.
I was doing a little thing.
But yeah, Ghoulies.
Get at us.
It's so.
In fact, I don't even know. You know, nobody uses that word.
Yeah, nobody used the word.
Ghoulies are a fairly small part of the action.
Yeah.
I mean, they're around, but like they're not like central. It's not like critters,
Correct. Yes.
escaped convicts.
Yeah. It's it was so there was I think some so what now I'm doing a bit. There's not a lot to the movie. Other than an almost sexual assault that happens.
Oh, yeah.
That was a fun
the
part.
fuck?
That
Also unclear what the fuck he's trying to do.
I know. Is he trying to get her pregnant? Is he
Right?
trying to get her pregnant? How girl get pregnant? What is it? Insane.
We must find way to insane mother.
It's so good because what does that fucking mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's just not a lot of... I mean, I feel like they should break up. I feel like Becky and...
Just dump him.
I feel like Becky and...
It's Becca.
Becca?
I think so. I don't know.
Rebecca.
It's Rebecca, yeah.
Rebecca. And whatever, Tony or whatever the guy's name is. Band-Aid. I don't fucking know what his name is.
Band-Aid, yes.
That's probably...
Yes. His name, Band-Aid.
Band-Aid and Becca, like, they just need to break up. First of all, he gets super into the dark arts, and she's like, I made dinner. And he's like, I'm actually fasting.
Oh, that's one of my
for
favorite scenes. I'm going to have to put it in here.
And then she just, like, cracks an egg into a pan, and he's like... At
least 2.
That's fair. And then... I like how she cracks it into a metal pan and then starts mixing it. And I'm like, what are you going to do here?
I know.
With 2, I don't know, whatever. People do weird things with food. We all learn
White
differently.
people in particular.
I always made scrambled eggs when I believed that that's not what was making me horribly sick. Eggs, I mean, not scrambled eggs. I was taught to crack the eggs into a bowl.
Right.
And mix them. And then put them into a pan.
Mm-hmm.
And other people will... I've watched other people do this. So I'm not saying this is... This is a thing that confuses me when people are like, oh... Sometimes when you go to like a hibachi restaurant, you know, they do the thing where they kind of cook the egg and then they just like chop it up and they put it... That's fine. But people will like try to make scrambled eggs that way. And
I'll
I'm
do
like...
that. Sometimes.
That's not going to make a scrambled egg. Like, you're just chopping an egg up while you cook it.
I just mix it with the spatula.
I mean, like, that's fine. But I mean, like, they'll let it cook a little while and then they mix it up.
Yeah.
So that, and I'm like, why? What?
No,
and I'm like, is that how you prefer it? Or do you actually not know how to make a scrambled egg? Like, that's the thing. And I'm going to say this. Yeah.
I really don't care how scrambled it is.
I'm going to say this, and I stand
yolk
by
broke.
this. I make the best scrambled eggs that anyone's ever had. I've never...
Ironic.
It is. I cook the best scrambled eggs. They're fluffy, delicious.
Do you use milk?
Sometimes, but you don't. It's not imperative to use milk.
Well, I know it's not imperative.
I add a little
you.
bit. I add a little bit just to increase the like fluffiness of them. It makes it a little bit more fluffy. But the littlest, tiniest bit. Like, I don't put like half a cup of. That's fucking gross. I just add a little bit to give it a little more oomph. Like just to add a tiny bit. But it's not necessary. The secret is. You cook them in butter.
Oh, yeah.
If you cook eggs in grease, they're fucking weird.
What do you call in grease? Bacon grease?
Like, no, like
chicken grease?
oil. That's just always what... I'm from the South. You call it's grease or it's butter. I'm sorry. That's just what
Yeah, but people in the South are cooking with animal fat.
Yeah. Not every time, though. We would...
I'm sorry.
We had a... This is gross. We had
Do you have a jar?
We had a jar.
Yep.
And the jar, yeah, you would put the oil, like you would, we had a strainer.
Yep.
It was disgusting.
Yep.
And we would pick, when we were done, we would put it into, we would just strain it in there. And when we would use, that shit's so gross. That shit's so gross. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I can't remember if my mom would do that. My granny definitely did.
Yeah. That's only good if you're doing something like bacon grease.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing something like if you're going to reuse that and it's like prime grease, you know, it's like some good grease. It's going to add flavor. But it's like generic canola oil grease, bitch.
Oh, no.
No, that's fucking nasty. That's what my mom would do.
Oh, I see. Also, isn't it sketchy to reuse cooking oil?
Yeah, and you know what? It's
carcinogenic, right?
well, it like would stank after a while.
Oh, yeah.
It would be nasty.
I would try to do that because for a while, I know you know this. I don't know how much I've talked about it, but like for a minute, I kept myself housed
Oh, that's right.
by selling Mexican food out of my kitchen, out of my apartment, and I called
hot.
it Taco Truck Apartment.
Truck apartment.
I had one of those miniature woks.
Uh-huh.
That I would deep fry things in, like, I think mostly I used it to make tostadas. You know, just to fry up a tortilla. But I would reuse that oil until I couldn't because it was...
Yeah, because gross. Yeah.
But it's not like, you know, I'm not cooking food in it. You know what I mean? I'm not like cooking vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, yeah, ooh. And it would be like not just, it would be like anything that we used grease with. That's not
Yeah, no.
the fried potatoes and the fucking pork chops and the fucking, no.
No. It's just if you're cooking meat and like bacon or ham or something super fatty that you're not even going to probably do anything more than salt on, then you save it.
I lost my shit one time because my mom used to do this thing where she would freeze leftovers.
Uh-huh.
And I always hated it because if we didn't eat if we didn't eat something, it was because we didn't like it.
It wasn't good? Yeah.
And that's what would get frozen, and
Right.
that's what we would get to eat when, like, she didn't feel like cooking. So, and one time I saw her mixing leftovers together in the freezer, just dumping a bunch of leftovers together in the freezer. And I was...
From the freezer?
No, into, like, she had a bucket in the freezer.
Okay, yeah.
And she was just, like... There was, like, leftovers in the bucket. It was
Right.
like an ice cream bucket.
Yeah.
And from that bucket, she, like, you know, there was leftovers that were, like, something I wasn't that fond of.
Right.
And then she took something else that I wasn't that fond of and put it on
Added
top
it.
of that. I was like, I freaked the fuck out. And I was like, I will not eat that. I'm like, you cannot make me eat that. I was like, that's disgusting. I was
Yep.
like, you're mixing these foods. And then she was like, she, like, told me something that made no sense. She said something like she was freezing it because she was going to, or like she was just saving it to compost later or something. And I was like, you're full of shit. I was like, I didn't say this to her, but I was like, she's like, I'm not going to make you eat this, like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, that bitch would have fucking forced us to
100%.
eat this shit if I had not lost my
She
shit.
would try to snug it onto your plate.
She would have been like, this is all we have, and you have to. And I understand that. I understand that there were times that was the case.
Right.
And I'm not saying that. This was not one of those times when we were not able to afford food. This was not one of those times. And I'm like, we're not getting there. I'm like, dude, no, I'm not eating, like, soup on top of soup on top of soup. That's fucking disgusting. Like, and I don't like soup. I'm sorry. I don't like soup because of how it was.
Because of your mom's damage.
Yeah. I don't like soup because of how soup is a easy meal when you're poor and you just put a bunch of things in water. And then here's dinner, and it's like disgusting. Now, I need to emphasize that there was no broth.
Right.
There was
No stock.
Yeah. Sometimes my mom would make chicken stock. She would make
Okay.
chicken stock, and then, you know, that's fine. That's it, though. Sometimes she would make chicken stock. We didn't have enough to, like, you
Right.
know, make soup for the whole family. So if she was making soup for the whole family, she would cook the chicken or whatever, put the broth away for, you know, to get frozen,
Some else. Yeah.
and then make soup with the chicken. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
it would just be like water. Ugh, brother, ugh. Man, I, like, for as much seasoning as she used, there was still so much flavor lacking in any of our food. It's wild because like compared to like my dad hated like seasoning and he didn't like, so my mom was a little bit limited in how she could cook. But also, good. It was not good. It was not a good, oh man. Yeah. Especially, I'm going to tell you something. When I started having your cooking.
Thank you.
I was like, oh. And when I started doing stuff on my own too.
Yeah,
you
right.
know. But like when you would cook stuff, I'd be like, oh. Like, you're the reason why I like cooked mushrooms.
Thank you.
Never liked that shit before. I mean, you dicked me down and then you made me like stir fry with mushrooms in it. And I was like, this is really good. What'd you put in it? More dick? And then we broke up or whatever.
What'd you put in there? Spices? My mom wasn't much of a cook, but she knew it, at least.
Yeah.
And also it was just me and her.
Yeah.
She wasn't fixing,
Yeah.
cooking for a family of 18 or however.
Yeah.
Sorry, 6. How many were you?
7?
7?
So at the most, there were 5 kids and 2 parents.
5 kids, yeah.
And then when Marty ran away from home, then there was 3 kids and 2 parents. Because after Marty ran away from home, Miranda left pretty soon after that. And then Valerie left.
And it gets worse.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was the thing. It was like it was mostly after they all left.
Yeah.
That like this stuff, I'm like, I'm not eating that.
She gave
Like,
up.
I'm not eating 6 kinds of soup in one giant tub. Like, that's fucking gross. Like, what? I was going to compost it later.
The house I've lived at before living here, I've told you this. First of all, they didn't cook. And neither of my roommates cooked.
Oh, right. Oh, God. I don't
However,
remember
one of
this.
them, if they were in a pinch, they would take a can of black. It was always without fail. This is what I don't know. It must have been something from her childhood. She would take a can of black beans,
Yeah.
frozen spinach, and a can of tomatoes, and that was.
I guarantee.
It did not add anything to it.
My mom would probably be like, "Oh, that sounds good." If she,
It was exotic.
oh God, that's
Not for nothing. She grew up in Florida.
I know.
I don't know what else to say.
Would you recommend?
Yeah, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fun. It's mostly confusing.
Yeah.
It seems pretty ambitious. And I will say, this is like, it's schlocky, you know?
Yeah.
The acting isn't bad,
No. Yeah.
which is a little surprising. And that's a little bit,
Correct.
I realized afterwards, that's what makes it kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not great acting, necessarily. There's not a lot of acting to do.
Right.
But the lead guy is pretty good. And the Lisa Pelican, I think is her name, that plays Becca, was like on Broadway, went to Juilliard.
Yeah. Right.
Was in some biopic or in some movie with Lynn Redgrave or Vanessa Redgrave. I forget which.
One of the Redgraves.
Yeah, playing a younger version of her character. So, I don't know. She's probably has some chops. I mean,
yeah. Right. It wasn't anything. I think that's the thing that was kind of interesting about it for me is that like it was similar. It reminded me of April Fool's almost in that like essentially nothing really happens to anyone.
Oh, how about the fucking Harlequin?
Oh my God! Right. Then they peel off their fucking face masks and they're just green. God, what?
Oh, that one guy. Yeah, that's right. He was only in that one scene.
Yeah. So
is that a ghoulie? Who's he?
No idea.
Who was that guy?
Like for things not necessarily happening, it's not an uninteresting movie.
No, yeah.
Which is impressive. Like I wish that two things that I think I wish happened. I think I wish that the boyfriend or whatever, Band-Aid, I wish that he had stayed bad. I think that would have been a really interesting thing where like the main character died. Yeah. And I kind of wish there was more there was like too much backstory for anything because there wasn't enough backstory
front
for
story. There wasn't enough front story.
No, I mean like there wasn't
Jonathan.
What? No, Band-Aid, much better.
Live.
There was just like there was not enough backstory to make it worthwhile to have any
For me, there's a disproportionate amount of a dude in a robe saying things in a not English.
in a not English, yeah.
That takes up a lot of the movie. There's a lot of scenes that
it's true. That's true.
describes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of the not much happens of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of that. And then
there was something that happened that we lost our shit about, and I can't remember what it is. It was something. It might not have even been. Oh man, I don't remember. It might have been something else that we were watching, but I don't think so. I feel like it was this. And I remember because I was like, oh, I wish, like, this makes me wish sort of that I was, like, writing things down because this is a really good part that I don't want to forget. I have no idea what it is.
Psych.
Oh, my God, what is it? It was something that had to do with...
Well, remember when the guy first comes out of the ground and then they cut back and it's a totally different... Like at first it's like a puppet and then next it's a real...
I feel like it happened early in the movie though. Like when they were having their first party.
Okay.
And I don't remember. Was there drinking?
Yeah.
Someone drinking and something happened and we were like, ha ha ha. Anyway, whatever. Something happened. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is a fun enough. Like, I don't know. I guess I would recommend any horror movie from the 80s that had spin-offs because I think there's always going to be something there because there was something there enough to
I wonder if they get more schlocky, like more I assume they get more because this is the trend for this movies like this as they progress they get more like goofy and intentionally so. I was not expecting it to be take itself as serious as it did. I mean, it clearly it's got some. It knows what it's doing, but like,
right.
I expected there to be more jokes. Like Critters has got jokes in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Critters got jokes.
Critters got jokes.
Yeah. It definitely falls into the satanic panic, whole thing.
It's just like de rigueur. They did it out of like you had to. Well, of course, it's a satanic ritual.
Right, exactly. I mean, honestly,
whatever. Nobody says that.
I'm gonna be honest about this, and I'm gonna say honestly that I would honestly prefer, if I'm being honest, to have anything be like satanic or paranormal than I would to have anything be aliens.
You think Critters?
Yeah. I think, they're aliens. I'm like, can't we just have like little critters that... I mean, it was like fine. It was funny and everything, but I would prefer to have little ghoulies from the underworld or whatever than to have any alien. Because to me, it's never going to be scary. Aliens are not... I'm not scared. It's going to do nothing. It's going to undercut...
I'm not scared of Satan, so...
I'm not scared of Satan either.
I am scared of aliens.
Really? Yeah, that's true. I'm not scared of Satan, but it makes sense in that you're not saying, oh, this spaceship that no one has ever seen or can prove or whatever has all this stuff in it that makes this thing possible, as opposed
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
I
Right.
said these words that are an actual language or whatever,
Aramaic.
and it made it made this thing happen. I'm not saying that there's no like underlying issues in Satanism, but I don't know. I don't want to say it's more believable. It's just like it's gonna
It often is a cop-out, right?
what is
Aliens.
yeah.
Aliens technologies.
It's either a cop out or it's going to be like just boring to me. Like that's what I don't know why, but it's just like there's nothing like it doesn't do it for me. Like I'm never
Right.
going to be like I mean if it's I guess I should say like Alien is one of my favorite movies. So obviously I do like that element and it's a scary movie, but it's not a reveal that there's an alien.
Right.
Or it's not the secret or it's not like, it's just like if the whole thing takes place in space, that's fine. It can be scary. But if everything is happening here and it's all like real life practical things and you're like, they're all aliens, I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Signs.
That's a
War of the
scary
Worlds.
movie. That's a scary movie. But Signs is upfront about it. It's like an alien invasion, as opposed to this thing is happening. It's alien. Yeah,
They Live.
I mean, I don't like They Live. Actually, no, not They Live. What am I thinking of? What's the Body Snatchers? That one scares the shit out of me. If I'm honest.
How about The Hidden?
That was just comical.
That movie rules.
And I like Night of the Creeps.
I think I like an alien bounty hunter.
All hongus, no chongus.